Hello and welcome to this Disney knitting tutorial where we'll be making our second square in the series, this Love Heart square. This is a lovely design that uses knits and purl texture to create a secret hidden love heart in the one colour, this beautiful scarlet yarn. This is a traditional technique that's sometimes referred to as the Gansey style, and it comes from fisherman jumpers. And it's been used for years and years and years to create designs in single colour fabric. So it might look complicated, but it's a really simple design. We will be following a chart for the first time, but I'll take you through step by step how to use it. So I hope you'll enjoy this tutorial. What are we going to need for our Love Heart square? Well, we're going to need our scarlet yarn. It's just one colour this time. It's this lovely bright red. Our 4mm needles. A darning needle to weave in all those ends. There's only two. And a pair of scissors to snip those ends. The other thing you might find useful is this. It's a bit difficult to get it all on screen. This is a magnetic board, and it's very useful for following a chart. So it's got a metal background, and then we have this magnetic ruler that we can move up as we follow the chart, so it keeps your eye on which row you're on. You will have a copy of this chart that we're going to follow in the magazine, but if you wanted to use a board like this, we will have a PDF download available for you to print out your own copy and use it on a board like this, and that will be available on our website. To start our Love Heart square, we need to cast on 31 stitches. So we need a long tail of yarn and make a slip knot. Pop that on the needle and cast on 31. Thirty, 31. That's our cast on. For this pattern, we're going to be following a chart. Now, charts can look a bit intimidating, but actually they're very simple to follow once you understand the basics of them. And we're starting off with a very simple chart. The chart is read from the bottom to the top. We start at row 1 here, and we read the chart from the right to the left, working on the right side of our square. Then we're going to turn and work the wrong side of our square, and we're going to work row 2, and we're going to read the chart from the left side to the right side. And this is how we go on as we're turning the work. If we were working something in the round, all these numbers would be on the same side, but because we're reading this with a right side and a wrong side, we've got the right side rows on this side and the wrong side rows on this side. Now we've got two colours in this chart, and they represent our knit stitches and our purl stitches as they are seen from the front of our work. So this is where it might get a little bit complicated, but we're okay, we can do this. So every red block on here represents a purl bump that is going to show on the front of our work. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's always a purl stitch. In fact, most of the time, because these are all worked on the wrong side row, these are actually going to be knit stitches. Because if you knit on the wrong side of the work, it shows as a purl bump on the front of your work. We're going to be working the first 7 rows in garter stitch, because this row is knit on the front, then we're going to be working back and it's all knit. This row is all knit, this row is a row on the back and it's all knit, and so on. So the first 7 rows of our chart are knit. So you're just going to knit every stitch, every row for 7 rows. That is row 1 to 7 of the chart already done. Very simple, just knit every row. And we finished on a right side row, so this is the right side of our work, and this is the bottom border of our square, and we have these 3 rows of purl bumps. And if I show you the chart again, let's move it up to the next row. We have the 3 rows of purl bumps showing at the bottom on the chart. One thing that is important, especially in the beginning of this square, is being able to recognise the right side and the wrong side of your work. It will become very clear as we move up through the chart, but at the beginning it can be a little bit tricky. So one thing you can do is get yourself a lockable stitch marker and pop that on the front. And that way you know that whatever side this is on, that is the right side of your work. The other way you can tell to use which is the right side of your work is that your yarn end from when you cast on here, not our working yarn, this one, mine's a bit long, it's always on the right side of the work. So nice and easy to remember that if your yarn end from casting on is on the right side, you are looking at the right side of your work. Row 8, and we're going to get into doing some patterning on this chart. My chart might be a bit difficult to read on screen, but I have got 4 red stitches, and then they're all white stitches until my last 4, which are red stitches. So that means I'm going to knit 4, purl all the way along to the last 4 stitches, and knit the last 4 stitches. Let's do that. Row 8, and I'm going to knit the first 4 stitches. Now I'm going to purl to the last 4 stitches. So that's my last 4, so I've got 2 more to go. And I'm going to knit my last 4 stitches. Row 9, and every right side row on this chart is just knit. You're just going to knit straight across. If I show you on the chart, row 9 here, it's all white stitches. So we just knit all the way across. That's row 9, and we just knit across. Let's have a look at the chart for row 10. So row 10, it's the wrong side row, so we're on this side, and we've got 4 stitches at the beginning to knit. So 4 red stitches, 4 knit stitches. Then we're going to purl till we start the heart in the middle. So if we count along, it's a bit difficult for you to see on screen, but I can see. So I've got 11 purl stitches, and then I'm going to do 1 knit stitch in the middle, and I'll have 11 purl stitches the other side, and finally those 4 knit stitches. So row 10, I'm going to knit 4, I'm going to purl 11, So I'm at that central stitch now and I'm going to knit it. I've got purl 11. That's 11. I've got 4 left, which I'm going to knit. Row 11, my right side row, it's all knit stitches again. So just knit straight across. That's row 11 and we've just knit across. And can you see now that we've got the border at the bottom and we're starting to get a border on each side? This bit in the middle is mainly stocking stitch at the moment. We've just got that one purl bump, but we'll be adding to that. So let's see what we do for row 12. So row 12 starts exactly the same way with our 4 knit stitches. And then we count again, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 10 stitches, 10 purl stitches. I'm going to do 3 knit stitches in the middle, another 10 purl stitches and 4 knit stitches at the other side. So 4, 10, 3, 10, 4. If it helps you, you can write that down. 4, 10, 3, 10, 4. Would help if I could read my numbers. That way you don't have to count it more than once, because I definitely have got to the centre of a thing where I'm meant to be counting it and completely forgotten how many I did the other side. But if I've written down the number once I've counted it, then I can just use that. Row 12, it's a wrong side row, and I'm going to knit 4. Then purl 10, knit 3, purl 10, and knit 4. Row 13, we're just going to knit every stitch. Row 14, and it's exactly the same again, the 4 at the side, but then this bit in the middle is getting wider, so these bits are getting shorter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 stitches there. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 9 at the other side. I don't need to write down the 4, I can remember that one now. So yeah, so we've got 4, 9, 5, 9, 5. So knit 4, purl 4, knit 5, purl 9, knit 4. Let's do that. Row 14, and I'm going to knit 4. Purl 9, knit 5, purl 9, knit 4. Can you see that heart forming in the middle? And that is really all we're going to be doing for the rest of this square. It's just following the chart to see how many purl stitches you have and how many knit stitches you have on each wrong side row. So I'm going to leave you to do a few rows by yourself, and join me back here in a bit to see how we get on. Here we are a little bit further along. I've just finished row 35. I'm about to start row 36, and on row 36 our heart shape splits into the top of the heart. So I thought I'd show you that bit just because it's a little bit different than what we've been doing before. So let's have a look at our chart again. Row 36. We've got 4 knit stitches to start, 3 purl stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 knit stitches, 1 purl in the middle, 8 knit stitches, 3 and 4. So let's do that. Row 35, knit 4. Purl 3, knit 8, purl 1, this is our central stitch, knit 8, purl 3, and knit the final 4. Row 37, we're just going to knit. Row 38, we're going to knit 4, purl 4, knit 6, purl 3, 6, 4. So let's do that. Row 38, we're going to knit 4. Purl 4, knit 6, purl 3, knit 6, purl 4, and finally knit the last 4. Row 39, we're just going to knit. Row 40 is the last row at the top of our heart. So we're going to knit 4, purl 5, knit 4, purl 5, knit 4, purl 5, knit 4. Nice and easy. So let's do that. Row 40, and we're going to knit 4. Purl 5, knit 4, purl 5, knit 4, purl 5, and knit 4. That is row 40 done, and that is our heart design complete. So we've got a few more rows to do before we're finished, but all that counting in the middle we don't have to do anymore. It's going to look lovely. Right, so let's have a look at our chart to see what we're doing next. Row 42, we've got knit 4, purl all the way across, and then knit the last 4. Oh, all the way up to the top. Row 43, which is our right side row, we're going to be knitting. We've done that every right side row of this chart. Row 44, we're going to start going back into garter. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows just plain knitting. So 1 more row of chart and 6 rows of plain knitting. I'll see you when we've done that. That is row 48 finished, which means our chart is finished and our square is finished. All we need to do now is cast off. You might notice we've finished with the garter at the top, which gives us the 3 rows of purl bumps, which matches our border all the way around. And we are going to cast this off on a knit row, which will give us a final edge to match the bottom edge just there. So we're going to cast off on a knit row. So knit the first stitch and then the second stitch and pass the first stitch over the second, and continue doing that all the way along. Keep your stitches nice and loose. Last stitch, open it up, cut our yarn and feed it through the loop, pull tight to finish. The only thing left to do now is to weave in our ends. So just thread your end onto a darning needle and we're going to weave it in at the back of the work. Just going down a stitch and up a stitch. You want to go over 6 or 7 stitches. There we go, that's nice and secure in there. Snip it off. So that's our end woven in. I've just got one more to do. And here we have our finished Love Heart square. Didn't it turn out just lovely? I really like this way of using the knits and purls to create what is almost like a hidden design in there. And if you can see, as the light catches it, it picks up differently. Really, really clever technique. We've used a chart for maybe the first time for some of you. Hopefully it wasn't as scary as you thought it might be. Charts can be a bit intimidating, but they get simpler the more you use them. And this one was quite a simple chart, so hopefully you didn't have any problems with it. So now we just need to bob a little label on with a number 2, because this is our second square, and store it with our first, and we'll get on making some more. So I really hope you've enjoyed making this Love Heart square with me today, and I really hope you'll join me for our next tutorial. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.